I gained 23 pounds of muscle and I've trained my clients to get similar results. And in this video, I'm going to help random strangers on the internet build more muscle. So Effective Produce 13 says, no results at gym. Photos are 2 months apart. I've gone on a bulk eating 200 plus grams of protein a day for the past 5 months, but I've seen little results. I work out 6 days a week for 2+ hours. I do push, pull, and leg days. I'm 25 years old, 5'11". I started at 165 pounds 5 months ago, and now I'm between 172 and 175. Am I working out too much? I definitely eat a lot to gain muscle, but it just seems like I'm gaining fat. Any advice? Anything I should start focusing on? Okay, so good news is that you already look like you've got a decent physique going and you don't look like a complete beginner. And you've gained around about 10 pounds in 5 months. So I'm assuming to some degree you know what you're doing in the gym. But you have plenty of problems, but the biggest one right now is what you're eating. Eating 200 plus grams of protein a day, weighing 175 pounds, the only world where I see that making some sense is if you just love eating protein. Because eating more protein is not what causes muscle growth. The function of protein is pretty much just to repair your muscles, right? It has other functions, but for what we care about, it just repairs our muscles and builds them back up, right? And that can be maxed out at 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You're 175 pounds. You would be extremely safe and you'd max out all of your gains eating 175 grams of protein a day. And the rest of your calories could be spent eating carbs, which would energize you for your workouts. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about what's wrong with the workouts that he's talking about right now. One thing that freaks me out about this situation is how unbelievably similar it is to my best client, Daniel. So Daniel was almost in this, not even almost, he was in the exact same position as Effective Produce 13 because he's training 12 hours a week and so was Daniel, and they were both on the push-pull leg split. I'm not gonna shit on the push-pull leg split and say that it's completely useless because it's not. I just don't think it's a good split for people who have lives outside of the gym since it requires you to show up 6 days of the week, which is for most people unrealistic. But I'm gonna assume that you have been showing up 6 days a week and you have been training 2 hours per week. The problem then just is with your training, just like it was with Daniel's training, right? Daniel was not training hard enough and probably neither are you. Because if you would have trained 6 days a week and you were training for 2 hours and you were training hard, by day 3, you would be done. You would not want to do the other 3 workouts of the week. And if you're able to do them, then the sad reality is that you're not training hard enough. Your workouts aren't causing enough of an impact for your body to start growing muscle, pretty much, is the unfortunate reality. So one thing you've got to start doing, Effective Produce, is start training a little bit harder. What you can do is whenever you naturally put the weight down, I don't know how many reps you do and what exercises since you haven't told me, just try to do 1 or 2 extra reps. So say you do 8 reps on the dumbbell bench press, what I want you to start doing after watching this video is try to do 10. If you do 10 reps on the bicep curl, after watching this video, what I want you to do is try to do 12. Start there and I promise you, within a few weeks, you're gonna realize why you weren't gaining muscle. Just another quick side note that I wanna give you, bro, since we're talking about it, and you've mentioned that you've gained 10 pounds in 5 months, you're probably gaining weight a little too fast. Because in this first photo over here, it already looks like you've got some muscle on your frame, right? My client, Daniel, had little to no muscle on his frame when he started out. So for him to gain 90 pounds in 90 pounds in 11 days, 11 pounds in 90 days, it made perfect sense, right? Because he didn't really have a good base to start with. But you seem like you've got some muscle on your frame. So trying to gain weight quickly, I know that it's tempting to just gain all the weight and you see yourself get stronger and it's a lot of fun. But just keep in mind that the faster you gain the weight, the more fat you're going to gain. And also, consequently, the more fat you're gonna have to diet off later. So I would say you wanna gain at most 1 to 1.5 pounds per month. That's gonna maximize muscle growth and minimize fat gain. Yeah, I can't tell what the first letter of his name is, but I'm just gonna say Larry Brico says, bulk or cut, new dad trying to get back into shape. Hi everyone, I'm 32 years old and I'm looking for a little bit of help figuring out my next steps. I've been in and out of the gym for years without a clear plan or structure. Then at the beginning of April, my daughter was born, first child, and my mother-in-law moved in for a couple of months to help my wife recover and handle cooking, etc. Since I haven't been able to properly track calories, I decided to focus on what I can control, hitting my protein goals and going to the gym 3 times per week. My aim has been to do a sort of clean bulk and build some muscle during this time. So now I'm torn between start cutting in mid-June, keep eating high protein, calculate my TDE, and go into a modest deficit. 2, keep bulking for longer, maybe another 1 to 2 months, then cut towards the end of summer. Stats, 194 centimeter, 85 kg, eating between 180 to 220 grams of protein daily, depending on the meals. Training 3 times per week, mostly compound lifts and progressive overload. I'm definitely getting stronger and I have gained some muscle since April. I can see a difference, but now I'm trying to figure out what to do next. My mother-in-law is leaving on the 17th of June, so from then on, I'll be back in control of meal prep and calorie tracking. My initial plan was to cut at that point, but I'm not sure if I've built enough muscle to make it worthwhile. I'm not trying to get super jacked. Just want to get rid of my belly and look more toned. So first of all, congratulations on becoming a father. And I respect the fact that he's already taken the initiative to get in shape, even though he's above 30, he just had a daughter. Most people at that age just give up. And so this guy gives me hope for the people over 30. Sorry, I was about to say over 40. So the bad news is that there's a few missing variables in how you're training and how you're eating, and also your approach to bulking or cutting. But the good news is that all of these problems are really easy to fix, and I'm gonna help you solve pretty much everything you've talked about in this post. First and foremost, let's talk about the prompt. So from the photos that I have of you right here, the ones that you've posted, bulking or cutting, instead of me just telling you what to do, I'd like to ask you a question. If you were to cut right now, or even from 2 months from now, do you think you'd have enough muscle on your body to look toned? Because the losing your belly part isn't that difficult, but my biggest concern for you right now is if you decide to cut and try to lose weight, would you end up having a toned physique or would you just end up looking anorexic? Because I'm assuming when you say toned, you still want to have some muscle on your body, right? You might want a physique that looks like this or even this. And so to have a toned body, you still need some muscle on your physique. Right? And right now, from what I'm seeing, you're clearly not out of shape. It's just you lack a base of muscle. So you said that you're training 3 times a week with progressive overload, which is fantastic. It means you're adding weight and reps over time. I see that you're getting stronger, but my concern is how much are you lifting right now and how much have you progressed and how quickly have you progressed? But if you are progressing consistently, you should have a little bit more muscle on your body. You say you've been training since April, so it's been around about 3 months. So if you've been training for progressive overload for 3 months, you should have some more muscle in your chest, your back, and your arms. But my question really is, when you say compound lifts, how are you executing these compound lifts? Because a mistake that a lot of people make, including me in the past, is we get so caught up in adding weight and reps that we forget the importance of form. On the topic of form, I just want to say, if you want to fix your workouts, there's like 4 things that I think about, and I call it the ISEC method. The ISEC method is intensity, selection, execution, and combination. Intensity, pretty much how hard are you training, how many reps are you leaving in the tank. Selection is what exercises are you doing? Are you doing fancy exercises like flying lateral raises or jumping bench press? Because those exercises, even though they're compound exercises, are not going to get you results. And so the E is execution. What does your form look like when you're doing these exercises? If you look back at old clips of me doing weighted chin-ups, I had a lot of weight attached to my waist and it was very impressive and it felt very cool. But if you pay close attention to my form, you'll realize that I wasn't going all the way down. Because if I was to go all the way down on weighted chin-ups and let my elbows pretty much get completely locked out at the bottom, then I would have to reduce the weight I'd be using. But I would have gotten better growth. One of the things that I always think about is me doing weighted chin-ups with less than perfect form got me amazing results. So how much more muscle would I have gained if I did them right? And I don't really know, and I guess I never will. The 4th principle of the ISEC method is combination, which is just how do all 3 of those variables, intensity, selection, execution, how do they all come in together and make a good program? Right now, my biggest concern for you is your programming and those 4 principles that I talked about, because it seems like something is wrong with your training, because you should have gained a little bit more muscle, especially since you're on a bulk. So you're really gonna have to dial in your training on the 3 days that you do go. I gave you the 4 principles for you to consider, but just one thing that I would keep in mind if I was you is time limits, right? When I first started doing fitness and running my business, I forgot that I was running my business and pretty much just was in the gym all day because I wanted to gain muscle, right? Especially when you start seeing results, that's when it starts to get addictive. But don't get caught up in training too much. It's a part of your life. It's not your entire life. If you want more help building muscle without spending all day in the gym using the tactics that I've used to reduce my gym time and for my clients, what you can do is join my school community. That's pretty much all it's about, right? You get in shape without giving up your favorite foods or spending all day in the gym. I'll leave a link down below. Easy Antelope 1576 says, 25 years old, 5'10" and 119 pounds, seeking advice as I start my transformation. TLDR, I decided to start a transformation a few weeks ago. Now I'm seeking advice on macros, workout routines, and supplements. What should I focus on most? Anything else that will assist my plan? History, I'm used to 1,000 calories total of mostly junk food and one decent meal a day. Since setting daily macro goals 2 weeks ago, I'm up to about 2,000 calories a day. I know I need to eat more. I had a compound fracture of my radius and ulna in my left forearm in 2014. Yikes. Nutrition, my major focus is weight gain. Daily macros, 3,000 to 3,500 calories, 120 grams of protein, 90 grams of fat, 450 grams of carbs. I mostly eat beef, fish, chicken, peanut butter, eggs, oats, pasta, a variety of veggies, homemade pizza, and drink loads of milk. Supplements, I didn't have a lot of money for, but I picked up creatine, fish oil, zinc, magnesium. Workouts, I'm still setting up a fully detailed workout routine where I'm trying to target every muscle group twice a week with 1 day for mobility, stretching, and bulletproofing. Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with you, bro. You're not gonna be able to gain weight eating the way that you are. At 120 pounds, eating 3,000 to 3,500 calories is way too extreme. So remember one of the people that I talked about at the beginning of my video, my best client, Daniel, said that he was eating 4,000 calories when he was trying to gain weight, but he was like 119, 118 pounds, the same weight as you. But when I actually got him to watch his food and calculate how much he was eating, turns out the most days of the week, he was eating less than 2,000 calories. Going off of what you've said, you're used to 1,000 calories of mostly junk food. It's going to be incredibly difficult, damn near impossible for you to go from 1,000 calories of junk food to 3,000 calories of clean food. Since it's clean food, it's not going to be 3 times the food, it's going to be more like 5 times the food. And it doesn't help that you've got a very small appetite. So for me, if I was in your shoes, I would not try to eat the calories, right? What I would do, since I'm going to assume that you don't like food that much and this entire thing is really difficult because of the eating part for you. Here's what I would do if I was you. I would start drinking my calories. So when I gained 23 pounds of muscle, towards the end, I was at 3,500 calories, right? And that's me at 180 pounds. When I was at 180 pounds, at my heaviest and my biggest, I was drinking 2 muscle building shakes a day, right? What you put in shakes doesn't really matter, bro. Put some protein in there, milk, peanut butter, some ice cream if you'd like, but start drinking your calories because it's gonna be a lot easier to get food in that way. That's what I recommend to almost every single client that I have that wants to gain weight. Bro, drink your calories. Drink your calories because it's a lot simpler and it makes the food a lot easier to digest. So about your workouts, bro, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you and give you some tough love, but I'm hoping that you can take it the right way, right? You've spent $50 on supplements, which at most are gonna give you 5% of your results, right? I would recommend getting a $10 membership at Planet Fitness and having access to all the equipment that they have in there. This isn't bad equipment. You've got a bench press thing, you've got a 45-pound barbell, but honestly, you would probably benefit from getting a gym membership. But if you're in a situation where you live far out in the middle of nowhere and you just can't get a gym membership, then what I would do in your situation, bro, is instead of the workout split that you've given me, I would adopt a 3 to 4 day either full body split or upper lower split where you train upper body one day and lower body the next. And I would focus on compound lifts, which are just movements that target multiple muscle groups like the barbell bench press, the barbell back squat, and the barbell rows. And if you have, I don't know, you don't mention a pull-up bar here, but if you've got access to a pull-up bar, that would be amazing. Do some pull-ups. It's gonna target your biceps, your back, and you're gonna get pretty much a full body workout in. And as long as you fix the eating thing that we talked about earlier in the video, then you should be gaining muscle in all the right areas and also be gaining weight. So Trading Djen says, 24, 6'4", 165. Been skinny all my life. I've tried gaining weight before and it was pretty difficult for me. I have a very small appetite. Been hitting the gym whenever I can for the past 3 weeks, maybe. First 2 pictures are from before the gym, the last 3 are from today. Eating all I can, started making some protein shakes with oats, peanut butter, yogurt, and fruit in the morning. Just need some tips to see what I can do to gain some muscle mass / weight. Ideally, I'd want to be at least 190. Also, ever since I've been eating more, I've been shitting like 4 times a day. Is that normal or is it the protein law? So it's not normal for you to shit 4 times a day, bro, and I'll tell you why that is later. But first, we need to fix your training. The reason I'm laughing is because every single person in this video so far, they've all had something wrong with their training, which is why the majority of my videos are about training. how to build muscle in less time, don't make these mistakes when you're training in the gym, blah, blah, blah. Because the advice on workouts from the fitness industry is terrible. One problem that I see is been hitting the gym whenever I can for the past 3 weeks. So that is not the approach that I recommend taking towards lifting in the gym, especially if you want to gain some muscle. So looking at these photos of you, bro, just being completely honest, I don't see any differences in the first 2 pictures and the last 3, right? I see that you've gained pretty much no muscle, and that's probably because you're inconsistent and you don't have a plan. So if you're serious about gaining 25 pounds of mostly muscle, then you've got to be a little bit more serious than this, right? You can't just go into the gym whenever you can and do whatever you can, because you're probably not going to gain any muscle that way since you have no strategy in place. So you haven't given me much to go off of from this post, since you're saying you're just going to the gym whenever you can and you don't talk about your workouts all that much. I would say start from the very beginning and just try to go to the gym 3 times a week and do a full body split where you train every muscle group, and just make sure you train your muscles using compound lifts, right? Again, same exercises I give to everyone. Weighted chin-ups, or if you can't do them, then normal chin-ups, and if you can't do those, then do lat pull-downs and do the bench press, do the barbell back squat. Try to add weight and reps to these movements over time, and just try to be as consistent as you can going to the gym 3 times per week. And lastly, bro, let's talk about your food intake. Really, there's nothing for me to complain about, since you've already said you're trying to make protein shakes, so you're trying to drink your calories, and you're saying that you have a small appetite. So that's obviously a very good decision from you. But if you're shitting 4 times a day, then it probably means you're eating too much protein. Like I said in the beginning of the video, there's little to no benefit eating more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So at 165 pounds, you'd be maxed out on the benefits you get from protein at 165 grams of protein. So I wouldn't recommend going over that, since the only thing that happens when you eat more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is I know this is explicit, but your farts stink and you shit a lot. That's the only thing that happens. Just take it from someone who's experienced it. But your main concern right now needs to be a lifting program that you need to get going. And this video about how I write lifting programs for busy people should help you with that. Best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.